welcome to another episode of Larry's Rants, Raves, and Reviews! Now, it's the moment that you have all been waiting for. Here comes the man, the myth, the legend, my papa! Here's Larry!
Well, hey, welcome folks. The episodes in this mini-series may prove that I'm totally crazy, but I don't think so. You may say, wow, old Larry, he's really lost it and he's gone off the deep end for sure. Or it may just prove that old Larry just isn't quite as dumb as some people think I am. Because here's what I think. The Democrats desire to destroy America. However, the Republicans desire to pretend that they will stop them. Some people say, well, Larry, you probably just get on the air and all you really do is bash the Democrats. Well, folks, for this mini-series, I'm bashing the Republicans, because they deserve to be bashed. So let me repeat myself just one more time. The Democrats' desire is to destroy America, change it into a totally different country than what we've always known it to be. The Republicans' desire is to pretend that they will stop them. So let me be very clear, and as the old saying goes, crystal clear. In my opinion, the Republicans do not want to win the midterms. That's why I have entitled these episodes in this mini-series, Why the Republican Party Wants to Lose the Midterm Elections. Sounds crazy, but all I'm going to ask you to do is simply open your mind and think through these ideas with me. I have 9 ideas, 9 thoughts of why I believe they want to lose. So hang on for the ride, and I think that you'll enjoy it. Just think with an open mind is all I ask you to do. So, my number one reason that I'm going to cover in this episode is, number one, winning threatens the very system that they all benefit from: dark money theft. I'll repeat myself. Winning threatens the very system that they all benefit from: dark money theft. You see, you have to recognize that the senators and congressmen, they love money more than they love America. You see, MAGA gave them a mandate. However, they can't serve the mandate and the money at the same time. So guess what? They chose the money. They chose the corruption. They chose the establishment. That's the way we've always done it. And you see, losing would allow them to maintain all the lobbyist kickbacks. Hang in there with me. Losing allows the money laundering machine to keep paying them and their families, such as happened in the Ukraine war. Now, if you will think with me and go back through my channels, you could go to episode 3. The third podcast that I ever recorded was entitled Ukraine War, Real or Photo Op? And we have found out since then that it was a money laundering machine and millions and billions of dollars was being shipped to Ukraine and money laundered back to our senators and congressmen and even the White House. Sleepy Joe, Autopin, and his family. So, if you think that my thought is really crazy, think about this. Losing keeps the NGOs healthy and strong, stealing we the people's tax dollars and padding the pockets of our senators and our congressmen. Losing would also allow them to continue their insider trading. Now, Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida has revealed that the House leadership actively pressured her to abandon all of her efforts to ban congressional stock trading, revealing a deep-seated resistance to transparency and accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, also John Thune is a top investor in Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine, in their family's shipping business in communist China. Thune has raked in millions, tens of millions of dollars in profits from the Chinese company during his short tenure as Senate Republican Majority Leader. You see, here's what I believe. Thune is selling us out to a hostile foreign government for his own financial gain. Now, here's a big statement, but I'm willing to make it. I'm going to report that this has been said. It has been said that the U.S. Senate under John Thune is officially the world's #1 sponsor of terror. Now, you go and you take a look at CIA and counterterrorism expert Sarah Adams. She confirms that the U.S. taxpayer is paying Taliban martyrs' families. Every Taliban martyr who died during the war, U.S. taxpayers are paying them a stipend. Now, I've got to tell you, 10 to 12 months ago, the House passed Representative Tim Burchart's bill. Now, Tim is the representative from Tennessee, and the more I hear this guy talk, the more I like him. He's one of the handful of people that I truly believe I can trust in Washington. But he authored and passed the No Tax Dollars to Terrorist Act to stop spending $40 million a week that the U.S. government is sending out to the Taliban. Now, folks, that's taxpayers' money. That's $40 million a week of we the peoples. Now, I got to tell you, when he first started talking about this, I was blown away. I'm like, no, this is wrong. This is false. Someone's reporting this stuff. It just cannot happen. Not in America. But I'm afraid that I have stopped saying those types of things because I trust my government so little. Matter of fact, nil. Zero. I trust them. He passed this bill about 10 or 12 months ago, yet the bill, it stopped it, and it's been sitting on John Thune's desk. He refuses to bring it to a vote in the Senate. In other words, some NGO, which is a non-government organization, yet a government-funded organization, is sending the kickback right back into the pockets of the U.S. senators, including John Thune. Here's what I will tell you. I don't trust John Thune. I don't like John Thune. He's even worse than what I would call a rhino. Thune, I think, should be immediately removed as Senate leader, expelled from the Senate, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. However, that will not happen because most of the other senators are corrupt and just as corrupt as he is. Do you remember the words of Hillary Clinton when she gladly and proudly screamed out, "If I go down, I'll take half of Washington with me"? In other words, she's bragging about the corruption. She's admitting to her corruption and all of her friends' corruption. You see, we're smart enough to know the corruption's there. They know that we know it's there. But we, the people, we're in handcuffs because we simply can't do anything about it. Thune, Johnson, and the others in office have chosen donors over voters. They would rather lose the midterms than choose their voter base. You see, again, they can't serve the mandate that MAGA gave them and the money at the same time. So it's worth repeating. They have chosen corruption and the money. You see, here's what I will tell you. I believe that the Republicans in Washington hate President Donald Trump because his agenda is cutting off their money. You must believe me when I say our entire government is a huge mafia. A mafia who launders our taxpayers' money back to themselves and their families through foreign aid, NGOs, and endless wars. I've said this before on other episodes, and I'll repeat myself one more time. Our federal government is the world's largest money laundering machine ever put together. You say, "Wow, Larry, you're really making some big statements on this particular episode." I am, and I'm willing to put them out there. Here's what I would say. When Elon Musk, Doge, and President Trump uncovered millions and even billions of dollars in waste and corruption, John Thune and Mike Johnson took no action. Here's what I'd tell you if I was the leader there. I would have been on every camera, on every microphone, shouting from the rooftop about all of this corruption, all of this money that's being wasted. Your money, my money, our taxpayers' money, we the people's money is being wasted. I've wondered all my adult life, why in the world do we send millions and billions of dollars overseas to other countries? Oh, we're always given the kumbaya, one warm and fuzzy story that we're doing this because it's foreign aid. We're helping the needy. And yet what we're finding out, as we did again in the Ukraine war, the Ukraine president was buying mansions, even in our own country, in Florida, and different places, driving expensive cars, living a lifestyle of luxury. But he wasn't the only one, because a lot of that money, we the people's money that was being sent there, it wasn't for the war. It was for him and our corrupt politicians that it was being laundered back to. So, why I make these wild statements is because John Thune, Mike Johnson, what have they done? No action. Zero action has been taken. You see, here's what I can tell you. They love money, they seem to hate you, and they care nothing about the voice of we the people. I've come to the realization that our government could care less if you suffer and die a horrible death as long as they continue to get rich, maintain their power, and live their elite life. Now, just within a couple of days of this recording, I received this email, and it's a report. It says President Trump's administration is scrapping its roughly $1.8 billion, that's with a B, anti-weaponization fund, which would have paid people who say they were wrongly targeted by the Justice Department. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche told Congress. Now, this money came from settling President Trump's lawsuit against the IRS over the leak of his tax returns. But Blanche goes on to say, we are not moving forward with this fund, period. You see, the plan had drawn criticism from both parties, both Republicans and Democrats. Matter of fact, Senate Republicans refused to pass the president's immigration funding bill until this was resolved. Now get this. 2 federal judges stepped in and blocked this fund. And the reason that they said, critics had warned it could pay people charged over the January 6th protest. Remember the fake insurrection that Nancy Pelosi, Barack Hussein Obama, Clinton, George Soros, they all put that together and they blame President Trump? Well, they don't want any of those people taken care of. You see, the esteemed court has no issue. Listen to me closely. The courts have no issue with Congress spending our tax dollars in a slush fund for their own sexual deviance. But God forbid they repair innocent citizens for weaponized abuse. I've got to ask you a question, folks. Are you tired? Are you sick and tired of the self-protecting corruption that is going on in Washington? If you still trust your government, I have no reason why. Washington has always, this is from Representative Nancy Mace. I like her. Washington has always protected itself. Members of Congress have been using your tax dollars to cover up their own misconduct for years. We moved to subpoena the sexual harassment slush funds records and gave you the names of every member who used your money to cover it up. We don't care if there's an R or a D beside your name. If you're abusing your position and spending taxpayer money to hide it, you don't deserve a seat in Congress. Do you really think that Hillary Clinton was worried about testifying before the House Oversight Committee during the Epstein trial? Or the trial? No. She or Bill, neither one cared. because they knew they were safe. Here's a reason why. The House voted 357 to 65 to keep the names secret of members who accessed the hush fund to pay off sexual harassment claims by staffers. Folks, we're not talking pocket change. We're talking about a little over $17 million. $17 million of we the people's taxpayer dollars to silence these victims. Nancy Mace said this, and I'll close with this portion of this. It says, taxpayer dollars were used to cover up sexual harassment and misconduct by lawmakers. Settlements were hidden from the public and records were destroyed to shield Congress from accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, there needs to be accountability in Washington, D.C. So, yes, my first reason that I believe the Republicans want to lose the midterms is winning threatens the very system that they all benefit from, dark money theft. Now, I will tell you, as we go through this mini-series, these reasons are not prioritized, but simply put together as I begin to think through this episode and jot down my notes. I began to think, and each one of them, and I didn't go back and try to prioritize. Because you know what? If you've got 9 solid reasons why you think they really want to lose, I don't see any reason to prioritize them because they're all corrupt and they're all bad. So here's what I'd ask you to do. Do me the favor of listening to this mini-series and just open your mind. Think over these reasons and see how sneaky and corrupt they really are. And the fact that corruption is running rampant in our government. All that I have ever asked you to do on any of my episodes, on my podcast, I've always encouraged you and only ask you to think and think for yourself. I'm here giving you my opinion. So you can leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about my opinion. Send me an email. It's on the screen. Or it's larryb@larrystrrr.com. Send it to me. Let me know what you're thinking. Leave a comment. Do me a second thing. Forward this episode to any family or friends that you may have so they can see what they think about my ideas. And then the third thing is simply to tune in to our next episodes to continue to hear the 9 reasons why I believe that the Republicans want to lose. Because in my opinion, the Republicans do not want to win the midterms. Winning threatens the very system they all benefit from, which is dark money. Give it some thought. And I hope that you will have a great day.